Hello, everyone, and you're listening to The Eljay Johnsen Show. Today, the guest is me. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of The Eljay Johnsen Show. The show airs every single weekend, every Sunday at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, unless specified otherwise, over on Twitter at the Eljay Johnsen, where you can find updates and guest announcements every single Wednesday. And if you have any questions over the week, make sure you head on over to my email, eljayjohnsen@gmail.com. Remember, that's JOHNSEN. Okay. Oh boy, oh boy. Alright, I think that's everything. Let me just, pop. Nope. There we go. It cooperates. Okay, cool. Awesome. Phew. It's working. Let me know how it sounds. Let me know if everything is up to snuff. All right, so hello everyone, and welcome to the 100th episode of the Eljay Johnsen Show. First things first, apologies for the delay in announcing who the guest would be. There were a lot of, I don't want to say contenders. Contenders isn't the right way to put it. I did not actually initially intend on doing it this way. I actually had a couple other guests in mind that I'm going to get into in just a moment. But regarding the delays, I had decided it was going to be me at some point. And the delays were just caused because I was just incredibly busy. A very busy schedule. And I just couldn't get around to getting the other episode up. And I like to have the episode announcement with, or the next guest announcement with the episode that just happened. So I had to edit it, upload it. That took forever. And then to publish it, and then I could actually make the announcement. So as far as guests originally, I did not plan on the guest for this episode being me. Not for a while. For about a month or two, I had really wanted the guest for my 100th episode to be Dale Wilson and Jeff Hughes. Now, if you're not familiar with those names, Dale Wilson voiced Liwa Nuva in Bionicle Mask of Light. And some of you may have kind of guessed that, because I sent out a tweet asking if anyone had a way to contact him. That's what that was about. And then the other one was Jeff Hughes. Jeff Hughes is the voice of Liwa in Journey to One. So, I sent them some messages. Well, okay, so I didn't send Jeff Hughes some messages. I asked my good friends at BSO1, Swart and Spirit, who are incredibly kind people, if they could reach out to him. They did. He did not respond, which is not terribly uncommon, and I definitely don't hold anything against him for it. The other one was Dale Wilson, who I had personally sent an email to. And Dale Wilson is simply one of the kindest, most polite people I have invited and asked to be a guest. He did politely decline. However, I've still been able to keep contact with him, and he is simply a gentleman and a kind person. So I appreciate him taking the time to even read and respond to my email, and I wish him the best of health and the best time going forward. So that was what I was originally planning. However, since that did not happen, I decided, you know what? I haven't actually fulfilled the name of the show. I haven't given my perspective. I've given it bits and pieces on different subjects over the years and throughout the show with different guests, but I've never actually had an episode where I've been like, yeah, so this is what I think. This is my lens, my perspective. So I figure, you know what? Episode 100, best time to do that. So let's go ahead and do just that. Okay. And of course, understand that we will be getting to the questions and not yet. We'll get to them during the normal portion, email questions, and the YouTube live chat. And toward the end of the episode, I'm going to give kind of an update on where the show stands and where it's going to end up. What things are looking like going forward. So, we have all of that to look forward to. So, okay, let's go ahead and get started. So, I grew up in a place called Palo Alto, California. Now, many of you may know this as a part of the Silicon Valley. It's a pretty technologically STEM-heavy city in California. And you might know it as the birthplace of Apple, maybe even Google, and potentially even Facebook. I'm sure everyone listening uses at least one of those things. So, grew up in that city, and there was a toy store called, that I only know as the Palo Alto Toy Store. I don't know it as anything else. So if it has another name, your guess is as good as mine. So one day, I was in the toy store, and me and my family were looking around, and I have some siblings, and we were looking to get something, one item per child. It's like, okay, yeah, let's see what's on shelves. And nothing was really catching my eye. I was like, nah, all this is, it's G.I. Joes or plastic dinosaurs. And I love dinosaurs, but, I don't know. Not super into it. But then, I saw something on the shelf. And something I hadn't seen before. Now, by this point, I've already been into Lego. I had the bricks and so on and so forth. But this was something completely different. I had never seen it to this point. It was my first Bionicle set. Set number 8578, Galak Kal. It's up on screen. And I picked it up. It's like, alright, this. Now, for anyone that knows me, this is an unusual set to be my first. This isn't my favorite set. It's not even my favorite Bionicle set. And it's not even in my favorite color. My favorite color, if you hadn't noticed, is green. So the fact that I have a blue Bionicle set and a Borak Kal to boot is immensely peculiar. But alas, that was the first one. So I got Galak Kal, went home, and struggled with my mother to build it. We were eventually successful, though I think a part or two got lost during that. A fun fact, though, I still have this one. I did not get a duplicate for my reviews. This is the same Borak, the same Galak Kal that I reviewed, and that I have displayed with everything else now. So it has withstood the test of time. Additionally, I don't know when I got Galak Kal. So because I lived in California at the time, California had this fascinating, I'm sure it still does, but it had this fascinating relationship with Lego Wave releases, where if a wave was going to be coming out in, let's say January, then the wave will be out in December without a shadow of a doubt, and well before anywhere else in the country. So it was not unusual to find sets in massive advance of their intended release. In fact, it was almost expected most of the time. And this would be for all LEGO themes. Bionicle, Exoforce. In fact, this is a fun fact I think I mentioned in my review of the Chameleon Hunter on this channel. I was the first person to do a review, any review, of the Chameleon Hunter online. It was a written review with photos that were posted to BZ Power, so the review doesn't exist anymore, but I was the first one to have a detailed photographic review of that set, because it came out so early. So it was stuff like that. So the reason I'm saying that is because it was not, again, unusual to see sets so early. So after I got the Galak Kal, there was another store I'd like to visit. Whenever I visited my grandfather at the time, I say at the time because he's well past, there was another toy store that we would go to in the area. I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head. And I remember walking in, and they were getting a new shipment, a new box. I saw an employee opening the box full, and I remember it clear as day, full of Nuvok. Not Nuvok Kal, mind you. Nuvok, the Borak, the normal one. And this box was chock full of them. And then I go inside. I get Gali, Tahu, and Onua Mata. Not Nuva. Mata. So I have no idea whether or not I got into Bionicle in late 2002 or early 2003. And so that's why I keep on saying, I don't know. Because I don't know. I don't have any photos of those sets during the time that I got them. So it was somewhere in that time where I got into Bionicle, and this was the first LEGO theme that I really had a centered focus on. And really the first anything outside of maybe the Crocodile Hunter and maybe Power Rangers that I took a substantial vested interest in. So after that, really got heavily into Bionicle. The films, the sets, the releases, and I started kind of making my way online to look at pictures of Bionicle sets. I was seeing the old ones, seeing the advertisements for Bionicle the game, getting super excited for the Liwa Mata level, because eventually I realized, gosh dang, Liwa Mata is super freaking cool, and he is definitely my favorite. And so at some point I got him. Now I actually did not get him. I didn't get him from a store. I got Liwa Mata off of eBay, which to many seems like it's a blasphemous statement coming from my mouth. But yes, no, I got Liwa secondhand off of eBay. I'm pretty sure the one I have is the one that I still have. I don't recall. I've acquired a few of them. Also, hi other TTV people popping in and then leaving. I appreciate the gesture. Okay. So I did get Liwa Mata eventually, and I'm going on Lego.com, Bionicle.com, and I'm seeing all these animations, and I'm immediately transfixed by Liwa versus Onua. And it's still my favorite Bionicle or Lego fight in anything, because it's so cool. I'm just captivated by it. It's like, yeah, all right, get him. Oh, yeah, oh, yes, awesome. And it's great. And so Liwa becomes my favorite. I got to get a picture of him up real quick, because I feel like it's a little bit of an oversight to not have a picture of my favorite Lego set here. Okay, I'm going to work on that. In any case, I get Liwa Mata. I'm looking at all the old Bionicle stuff. I'm getting excited for the game. I'm getting excited for the movie. Those come out. I'm disappointed that the game does not have the Liwa Mata level, as I soon discover. And even further disappointed that I can't really complete it. I could not get past the first level for easily 1 year. I don't know why. I'm good at games now, I swear. And then the movie comes out, and it's awesome. Super pumped by the movie. So 2004, 2005 rolls around. I'm getting really into Bionicle and the films and the sets and the comics. I start getting the comics and start reading the books. The first full Bionicle book that I read was, oh goodness, it was The Darkness Below. That's still, I think, a really good Bionicle book. I definitely recommend it to people. It's I think it's in my top 10, no doubt. So 2005 rolls around. I'm still into the community in a sense. I'm looking at BZ Power, which is of course the hub of the Bionicle community in its entirety. If you're a Bionicle fan and you're on the internet, you are on BZ Power at this point. There's no doubt in my mind. So I decided, okay, I think it's time. Made an email and made an account on bzpower.com. And that account was made on September 1st, 2005. And then real quick here, let me go ahead and get that picture of Liwa just up on screen. Come on, cooperate. Come on. I'm going to get a better picture in a second here, because I want the logo and then the set number. But that's a good placeholder. This is Liwa Mata. So let me go get the other one. In any case, I make an account on BZ Power in 2005, and that is the first time I joined the LEGO community. That would mark the beginning of things, as it were. So I join, and I don't make a post for a year. Literally 1 whole year, nothing. And then my first post was on a topic about a comic series. So if you're not familiar with BZ Power is a fascinating website. It is easily the most fascinating and cultured message board that I have ever seen, Bionicle or not. It just has such a rich culture to it, like none other I have ever seen before. It is incredible. Oh my gosh, Firefox, I do not want to email this picture. I want to save the picture. Thank you. So it's a really cultured website. There are so many different things to it, so many different layers to it. It's incredible. And part of this culture was a subform known as the comics form. Now, the comics form, if you're familiar with pixel art, you take a bunch of pixels and you make them into characters and poses, and then here's that image I was working on. There we go. And you take all these characters and you give them poses and you give them heads and facial expressions and all of this character, and then you give them text. And then you give them emotions, and then you give them things to do, and then you give them storylines, or you tell jokes, or you're comedic. My comic series, and I started a comic series, was mostly comedic. But my first post was on a comic series called Dark 709's Comics. And gosh dang, they were some of my favorites. They were, to me at the time, super, super funny. I thought that they were just comedy gold. And Dark 709 was such a kind guy. Originally, fun fact, he was our choice for Takua for Biocraft Chronicles back in 2011. And he actually recorded all the lines that we sent him. He's such a kind guy. I don't know what he's up to now, but he was great. So, on the comics forum, I made a post asking a question about Dark 709's comics, and I don't even remember what it was. However, from that, I decided, you know what? I want to make my own comics. I want to be a comic maker on BZ Power. So I did. I went ahead and I made my very first comic. And I'm going to go ahead, and this is the first time since MajHost went down, because that's where they were all hosted, that this comic has been seen. You're not going to see it in any great quality. I don't even think you're going to be able to read it, and I don't know if I'm going to post it up otherwise. But here it is. This is the first comic I made, and let me see if I can get the date on that. Let me see. So this comic was done January 1st, 2007. So sometime after that, in 2007, I had posted this comic to BZ Power, and I started making comics from that point on. I think I did that for about, I want to say 13 years afterwards. I don't recall. I don't remember. But this was pretty standard for a first comic. There's no background. There are just characters with text, and they do something, and someone gets hurt. And in this case, it's myself, which, as many have noted, is just Liwamata with lime joints and a gold mask. I'm very original, guys. I know. But yes, that's me. And then a comic character I had called Fred. Now, in the comics form, it was very common to have a character that kind of augments you, or your character, and is obsessed with food. So Dark 709 had a character called Bob, and he was obsessed with a food. He was obsessed with cookies. And this was all over the comics form. It's a very common trope. Fred was obsessed with bananas. So in this comic, obviously, I slip on a banana peel. So I do this for, like I said, many, many years, up until, I think, 2013, I want to say. 2013 was when I was done with comics, and it was fun. It was the first time I'd gotten to make something entertaining for people that followed it and commented on it, and it gave me an opportunity to get better at what I was doing. So the comics obviously greatly improved. I went from making them in Paint to making them in Photoshop, and so on and so forth, and it'd get better. And then eventually, I stopped in 2013, which is around the time I left BZ Power. So moving forward, 2009 rolls around. Legendary Born is very exciting. It's something that's happening. In 2009, I joined a chat called the BZPC. It's called the BZ Power Chat Room. Now, it's unofficial, of course. BZ Power didn't actually host it. And if you were caught sending links to anyone, you were subject to punishment for it. However, people did it anyway, no surprise. So I joined, and that's where I met a variety of people. I was invited, firstly, by my friend Ven. Ven was a fellow comic maker who made comics about symbiotes, which were creatures from Marvel Comics. Obviously, he was named after Venom from Marvel. So he invited me to the chat room, and from that point on, I met a slew of other people. Var, Meso, Kini, Envy, people that are now currently a part of the TTV channel. And so we became a group, we became friends, started talking, hanging out, and during that time, I was invited to be a part of a podcast called iBZP, the Independent BZ Power Podcast. And that's really where I got it in my head that, gee, I do like podcasting. This is kind of fun. I want to keep doing this. And so starting in 2009, all the way till, obviously right now, I started doing podcasts. And iBZP eventually went away. And in 2010, the TTV, or the Three Virtues podcast began. And it is now known as the TTV podcast. So it has been going on since then. In this time, around the 2010-ish area, I was hanging out with, I think, Meso Lady Kopaka, who is a name that some of you may not even remember. She was a community member who does excellent artwork. She is still around. And a few other people. And we were reading a comedy, a parody written by Spirit over at BSO1. And it was a parody of The Legend Reborn. And so what we would do, we would read this off and just do a bunch of different funny voices with it. And we would just read it and laugh and like, oh, that's a funny voice. Ha ha, that's a funny one. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's really good. I think I was doing the voice for Gresh during that, which, again, is not very surprising. Gotta drink some tea, guys. So anyway, after we did that, after we had our fun there, Lady Kopaka had posted something somewhere, and she was like, you know what, LJ? Great job on all that voice acting. You had a real good voice for cartoons. And at that point, I knew, all right, yep, I'm going to be a voice actor. And so then I started getting into voice stuff. And my first community voice project was, it was also not as Liwa, which is what people would suspect. Oh, he probably tried to voice Liwa somewhere. Nope, it was not. My voiced voice project. First one was Evok, the brown Paraka. And I actually still have that recording. Let me see if I can find it and play it for you all now. Okay, yeah, I have it. So this is a voice recording of the first voice lines I recorded for anything, period. And this was done in 2000. Okay. I'm not actually sure when. It's gonna be... Oh, goodness. Anywhere between 2008 to 2010. So here is the first... Here we go. Let me just make sure it's not too loud.
Look, it's stuck in hand can. Ah! What? You okay?
I know. Captivating performance. I'm certain that you're all on the verge of tears hearing that masterpiece. I know. But that was the first one. That was for Avak. And obviously you can tell, by this point, you're never going to hear Avak as anything different, I'm sure. But that was that. And eventually, I decided to get into other things. So, what I decided to get into was an animation project called, oh gosh, what was it called? Bionicle the Rebirth Chronicles, I think. I think that was it. So I got into the Rebirth Chronicles, and that was a project it was an animation by a guy named Tokan. And Tokan, actually, he still does animations, I think. He did them up to a certain point. You know him probably better for a couple of 3D animations he did of 2006 and 2008, or 2007 rather. And he posted them, they were 3D. They were kind of emulating the first 3 films. So, he makes a project called the Rebirth Chronicles. And the way that works, it was a bunch of humans who they join. How was it? It's a bunch of humans that came together on the island of Matanui, and they had these little bracelets that could turn them into the Toa. And the Toa were these separate entities, kind of like, I'm not sure a good analogy, but they had these separate entities. They were the Toa, and then the humans would use their amulets, or the bracelets, to merge with the Toa and become the Toa. So, I auditioned for Liwa. Not the character that he merged with, but Liwa, the actual, entity. And I don't know, I don't know what made him decide to go with it. I appreciate it regardless, but Token is like, all right, you know what, you got the role. And so that was the first time I was Liwa in anything. So, I did that. That was fun. I think I was in 1 or 2 episodes, and then the project kind of started slowing down and stopped, but it also featured Liwa less and less and less. But I decided, all right, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go forth, and I'm going to try and be Liwa in as many projects as I possibly can. For 2 reasons. 1, Liwa's my favorite character, of course, and 2, I was never really content, and I've said this several times, I was really never content with how he was portrayed in Mask of Light. It's like, well, Dale Wilson is obviously a massively accomplished voice actor. He's an incredibly skilled voice actor as well. But I'm not sure I'm super stoked about how he was portrayed as much older, much wispier than I always perceived him to be, which was very young, very jovial, very almost childish. Not childish, childlike, but much younger. And so I thought, you know what? How would I like Liwa to sound? And honestly, it kind of, over time, came to be, I kind of want him to sound like this. This kind of young, almost, I'm not really sure the right word for it, but it's the voice you kind of hear for a lot of the jokey characters. Like, you'll hear Jay sound a little bit, have this inflection tonality. I'm not sure the right word. Aaron from Nexo kind of falls into this. I'm sure there is a word for it, but Liwa, in my opinion, should sound a little bit like this. And so I've decided, all right, you know what, I'm just going to go out and just play a bunch of Liwas and kind of represent what I think he should sound like. And so that's what I did. And I've been doing that since Rebirth Chronicles, which came out in, I think, either late 2009 or early 2010. And something around there. I'd have to go back and check. So I have been doing that ever since then. Obviously, that entire time I was still making comics, and I also made my kind of symbol, something to recognize me by, as the Mangosteen. Now, many people have asked me, what the heck is a Mangosteen? Is it a mango? And it is not a mango. It has nothing to do with a mango. Mangosteen is a fruit from Southeast Asia. It's also called the purple mangosteen, or the queen of fruits. And it has excellent health benefits on the outside, the rind, but the inside is soft and sweet. So on BZ Power, the way I made myself distinct was I called myself the Toa of Mangosteen. And I was the only one, and everyone's like, what's a mangosteen? Well, this is a mangosteen, good sir. And so I made that kind of my icon, kind of what represents me. Which, for many of you who might know me from my reviews, might find this a little baffling because, well, you might know me for the Miru, because I wore a mask for so long. However, before the Miru, what was distinct was the mangosteen. So, I make my comics. Obviously, this is my avatar for a very long time. And things go pretty much fine. I'm doing stuff on TTV. I'm doing the podcast. I'm making more comics. And then TTV starts to pick up a bit. TTV starts moving to YouTube. That starts getting more views. Hero Factory's in huge, large swing. It's in big swing. It's now coming up. BIONICLE has ended by this time. And BZ Power and TTV are trying to figure out what to do. What do we do now? So at some point, around 2013, TTV starts a new initiative. It's a content initiative of reviews, of analytical content, of stuff nobody else really makes. I mean, people make reviews, but I wanted to do a twist, a spin on them. So, around that time, I start work on my reviews. And this is an image of me around that time, because a lot of the sets that I needed for the reviews, I had to get. I did not already have them. So, at the time I was working, I was doing irrigation, and so around this time, in 2011, I moved away from California, and I moved to Idaho. And if you don't know where that is, it's the potato state, right above Nevada and Utah. That's Idaho, that large boot-looking one. So, move up here, and TTV starts the content initiative, and I go, all right, you know what? I'll do reviews. And so I'm looking online, I'm looking like, all right, well, what's the quality standard of reviews right now? And the most popular review series was a BIONICLE review series done by Legomation Studios. Excuse me, I'm going to quench my thirst for a moment. Okay. So the most popular review series was one by Legomation Studios. And I watched several of his reviews. I didn't watch all of them, but I watched several of them to kind of get a gauge for what they were like, what points he was making, and what he was really focusing on. And throughout a slew of them was just inaccurate information. Just incorrect statements. Things that were patently false. Like at one point he said in his Exotoa review that the Exotoa sold with Tahu Mozza. I think it was either Nuva or Mata that he said. And it confused the heck out of me. And then, of course, the Muaka and Kenny-Ra, he flipped the names on those, which, I mean, that happens. It's not a huge deal. But, there's stuff like this throughout all the reviews. And I don't mean to say this as a way to bag on Legomation Studios. Okay? Not at all. Obviously, we're all young. We're all making videos about something. We might not know everything, and we shouldn't be expected to. But I thought to myself at the time, I think I can do better. And it sounds conceited, of course. But I thought, you know what? I think I can make a more accurate review of this product. So I did. I made the first recap review. And thus started Eljay's recap reviews. They started in, I think, 2013, 2014, somewhere in there. And the first one was of course, Tahu Mozza. Now, full disclosure, many of my old reviews are not good. Absolutely. So that's why when people say, oh yeah, I binged through all the reviews, I really liked watching them, or I grew up on those reviews, which that's something. Whenever people say that, I always go, really? Well, I'm happy, but really? I'm always really confused because I go look back at, the Tahu review, and I'm like, well, I can do so much better now. I might redo it at some point. I don't know. I don't know when I would. It's not a priority. It's not even in my head right now. Maybe I will redo them eventually because I know that the old ones are not good quality and I can do much better now. Like if you compare my Tahu review with my Torch review that I just released, it's a world of difference. And like two completely different people made them. So I know that I can do them better. At the same time, it's good to have a testament to what my abilities were back then. I made that on a small camera, a tripod, and Windows Movie Maker. Windows Movie Maker. What? And I was happy with it. My twist, my spin for these reviews were two things. And I wanted to really set my reviews apart. Now, obviously, Jangbricks, easily the best LEGO reviewer online, period. Without a shadow of a doubt. He had been making reviews. He makes excellent reviews. He'd been making high-quality ones at that time. I wanted to set myself apart from him and from Legomation Studios. And so I did two things. First, I had an intro. It was an intro with music made by Ven. The second thing that I did was add cold opens to the beginning of all of the videos. Sketches, skits, funny jokes that either reference the set themselves or the story that the set came from. Or I'm making some lame pun or joke. So that way, if you don't like the review, at least you can come back every week to a new skit that hopefully you'll find some enjoyment in. I thought, you know what? Excuse me. At least that way there's something for people that might not like the quality of the reviews, which is perfectly understandable, but at least there's something for them to return to and go, that was at least entertaining, so there's something. And I did that for every single video. Made all the skits, all of the reviews. There was one exception. There's one single exception. I did not make the skit for Maxilos and Spinax. Now, I wrote it, and I edited, or I did not edit it. I wrote it, but I had to ask Ven to make that entire skit because I could not at the time. I was busy moving at the time, so I couldn't do it. So, recap reviews start. And my goal was to review every single Bionicle set that had been released. And this was every mainline story integral Bionicle set. And I thought something on store shelves that was meant to be one of the prime, was advertised heavily and so on and so forth. And so I did. The way that I accomplished that was because I didn't have all the sets, I made it a weekly release. And so I would go out and I'd purchase a set off of eBay or Bricklink or wherever, and then I'd review it. So sometimes I would get the set the very week the review came out, which was the case of, I think, the Manas, the photo I just showed. The Manas, getting those, and then doing the review on them. And so it was it's a very small window of time to make that. But I was able to do it. I was able to make the reviews, and then I would take a break, and then I'd get the rest of the sets, make the reviews, start up again, back, forth, until done. And there were a few times I almost missed the days they were supposed to come out. Now, I did make a few exceptions, as has been, I'm going to say, noted by Tesla Effect. I made an exception for Cardaz, which I don't consider a set. He is a combination model. He is also a special edition box set in that he contains all three of the Titans of that year, but also gives you a fun little combination model to try and pass it off as a new item, which I'm not really in favor of, but I made an exception for that, and I made an exception for Gold Good Guy when it was canonized as a form of Trogolicon. So, make the reviews, take breaks. My goal was to do all of them and I wanted to never miss a release on Tuesday, because they all release Tuesday. I originally wanted them to release on Thursday. However, that didn't really work out, so I released them all on Tuesdays. And gosh freaking dang it, I did not miss a single Tuesday release when the recaps were airing. Not one. Some of them will show you different dates. It will show you that it was the day before the Tuesday or what have you. But that's because YouTube goes off of Pacific Daylight Time because it's a California company. But no, I never missed a single Tuesday. Now, obviously enough, I didn't review any of the combo models with the exception of Cardez, and I did not review any of the promo material with the exception of Gold Good Guy. Now, I then, once I finished the recaps, I went back, I did do one video for the polybags, the promos. You know, all the little non-canon figures, good guy, bad guy, so on and so forth. I did review them in one video, and I think, yeah, I released on April Fool's Day in 2017. So I did review them all eventually. But I really just wanted to get through the sets, and I wanted it to build to something that I, in my many years of lurking and looking, had never actually seen. And it was a photo of every set in one place, every mainline set. And as far as I'm aware, I'm the first person to have a photo of that. Now, obviously enough, it doesn't have the combo models, and it doesn't have the promos. I display them all now with those. I have the combo models, the ones that were released in boxes. I have them behind me right now. And I have all the promo sets alongside all of the mainline sets. But this is the first photo of its kind. And so it's a big moment, because that's 10 years of sets in one place. And so it was a big deal. I was able to finally make that picture happen. And I thought, you know, this is great. I'm done. I've done it. Yeah, no. I'm not done yet. Looks like I'm not out of the woods. I will, of course, as I mentioned, be reviewing the combo models. And that's going to start this year. It is going to start this year. That's the one thing. I keep on saying I'm going to do something. And then people keep on badgering me about it. They're like, as if I'm not going to do it. Like I haven't released a recap every Tuesday since they started. When they've been, you know, in season, I suppose. So yeah, I will be reviewing them, of course. And I'm going to do another review on Cardez as well. I feel it's only fair to give an updated one. So keep an eye out for those. So in 2016, I get this picture. I make this video. And up until this point, I had worn that mask. Not this mask exactly. There were 3 other iterations of it prior. But it ended up being, it's the Miru, the Mask of Levitation from the Liwa set. And so I wear this mask in anything that I am in. Any video where I'm in, any webcam video that I'm in, so on and so forth. Excuse me. In this video, for the first time, I took the mask off. I decided, you know what? The channel's getting larger. I can't use the mask as a crutch. I can't just have it be my thing. I have to take the mask off. This is a good time to do that, to celebrate the end of the recap reviews. And so I did. I took the mask off. And it's obviously a very big moment. I thought they went very well. I think that the video, I'm still very happy with the recap finale, honestly. Though, let me tell you, this video and this decision was made, this was a choice I had made a year before the video came out. However, we all went to Brick Fair, Virginia, in between the time I decided to do this and the time the video released. Which meant that in order to keep up the charade, I had to wear the mask during Break for Virginia, which I did, thankfully. Oh, thank freaking goodness for Cyberhand. That man saved my bacon because he made the mask that I use now, and it is just immaculate. I love it. It's great. I couldn't have done it with any other mask. But it was fun. It was an adventure, for sure. So, eventually, the recaps end. During the recaps, Bionicle does come back. It comes back with the Generation 2. And that's when I start the recent reviews. Now, the first half of the recent reviews start off in a very similar fashion to the recaps. Very similar in style, in tonality, and so forth. When the second year came around, I was asked by someone, you can guess, I was asked to make them more like Jangs. So, I went out of my way to try, and I got a Lazy Susan, which is it's a spinning cake table, but that's the name for it. I got large, bright lights, and I tried to make it so that they were like Jang's reviews. So everything was super bright, and you couldn't see the Lazy Susan, and you couldn't see the background. It was just white, and then it was the set. I was not properly equipped to do it at the time like Jang. It was a very poor attempt at trying to make it like Jang. And for that reason, I look down on the recents pretty heavily. I don't really like them. The second half of the recent reviews, I'm not happy with them. They're not a good quality standard. I was mandated to make them a particular way and to give TTV recommendations at the end, which is not something I really wanted to do. And it was not good. And I was stressed to try and get them released in an amount of time that was competitive with other places like BZ Power or Jang or Brickset. And that's not fun. And, intersperse this with my other job, and it's just a very stressful period of time. I don't like those reviews at all. If I would redo any reviews, I would actually redo the recents over the recaps. So, yeah. In any case, they got done eventually. And after that point, this is nearing the end of 2017, or nearing September 2017, a whole bunch of stuff goes down, and I'm sure many of you already know the story. I get fired from TTV, or ejected, I suppose. I spend the next 7 months kind of figuring out what happened. At the end of those 7 months, I rejoin. The issue is resolved within TTV, and I start up a review series called The Retired Reviews, and my goal with that is to review entire themes, entire lines of sets. So, Rock Raiders, all of Slizers, all of Space Police, so on and so forth. Review them in their entirety, and then I can reproduce images kind of like the recap finale. That's kind of the point of it. So I started off with the System Bionicle sets. So I reviewed all those. I got the picture of all of them in one place, which I also don't think has happened before. And now I displayed them right across from all the construction stuff. So I reviewed all of those. I reviewed those promos just right away. I know there are a bunch of alternate models for the system sets that instructions just don't exist for. And there's one combo model between them that I will be reviewing eventually. But yeah, what people don't seem to realize just yet is that the retired reviews are not meant to be a just solely Bionicle review series. I started with Bionicle because I wanted to get the system sets out of the way, and it allowed me to collect them all. But the point of them is to review other themes, and to explore other themes, and to see other older themes that are also of interest. And so right now I've started with Slizers. I'm doing the Slizers reviews, and they're the predecessor to Bionicle. After that, it's going to be a system theme. Again, technically. So, in any case, during my firing, I didn't really want to leave the Bionicle. I mean, it wasn't being pushed out of the Bionicle community. I wanted to stay in it and do stuff and make videos. So I decided, okay, I will make my channel a thing. I will do my own random reviews from time to time. That seems like a lot of fun. And I will also start my own podcast because I felt awfully snubbed by not being the host of the Brickfeed podcast in favor of someone else. So I was going to do my own. But I didn't want it to be just another Bionicle podcast. I didn't think that was particularly lasting. What I decided was this show, and the point of this show is to explore unique and different perspectives from people from across the entire LEGO community, be it set designers themselves, mockists, artists, writers, anyone, and it would be entirely blind to subscriber counts or notoriety or anything. It would be anyone. Now, obviously, I have an intention of focusing on people that have something that they really want to talk about. You know, something that they are very passionate about. Oftentimes it gravitates towards projects, but it can be everyone. I really want it to be an open discussion platform. That doesn't mean I will pick everyone. That doesn't mean that I will have everyone on, but that's the criteria. It can be anyone. And so that way, it exposes so many more people to so many different perspectives and angles and all of these viewpoints, and helps people get interested in other things in the hobby. The other thing that I wanted to do was make it distinct from TTV in the sense that it would not be affected by TTV. So let's say if someone was banned on the TTV message boards, that does not exclude them from this, because this is not a TTV production. And that was a condition for my return, for my coming back to TTV. My condition was I would remain my own entity. I would have the ability to do my own things and it not be affected by TTV, which of course was immediately agreed to, because otherwise I wouldn't rejoin TTV. So the show has been a blast. The show has been fantastic. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I will have to do an episode just going over some highlights, some of my favorite aspects, but the channel's been so much fun. It's certainly a hobby. That's what I want it to be, but it's been so enjoyable. I hope everyone has been enjoying it. I think it's gotten better, and I think it will get better. So, all right. That brings us to now. That brings us to the here and now. Have I skipped over some things? Absolutely. But that has been the last 14 years in the LEGO community. And of course, I've done a slew of other really fun and crazy things and great things, you know, outside of just the reviews. There was also that Minecraft video that I was a part of, which still is pinned to my Twitter. I'm so happy that happened. Currently, I am actually the LEGO ambassador for the TTV LUG, or rather TTV RLFM, Recognized LEGO Fan Media. I am the ambassador. We got back in. So that's a thing. There are going to be fun things to come from that. So it has been unbelievably fascinating. My quest to become a professional voice actor is continuing. I think I've gotten better from that clip. I certainly think so. I think I've gotten a better understanding of how my voice works. I think there's definitely room to improve, and I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so now, LEGO Master reminded me, Biocraft. Biocraft happened. I wrote, directed, and produced Biocraft with the help of so many other people. Gosh dang it. I love it. It happened and everyone liked it. Everyone liked it. That's the part that makes me the happiest, is that we made it and it wasn't bad. It was enjoyed. So, okay. Let's go ahead and get into some questions. I'm starting off with the email questions. So, here we go. So we got 3 emails from Professor Sir Lojan. who first, of course, a few of these are before the guest announcement. The first one is, which would you switch the runtimes for? And I think I said I'd switch G2 for Fabuland. I think that was it. If I could have any two LEGO themes cross over, I think I said Ninjago and Exoforce, though I'm not sure. You have a really good suggestion with Alpha Team and Exoforce. And then a question for me, for you, LJ, that Keyforge card I asked you about, it's done. You can either check the boards for an artwork topic called Keyforge Customs YouTubers, but I will also attach the JPEG. Well, this is really well timed. I'm going to go ahead and put this on screen. Let me go ahead and save it real fast. But it's really cool. Let me see. Okay. Show in folder. Let's see here. I'm actually going to put this in this folder. And drag that over. Okay. There we go. Alright, so this is what Sir Lojon made. And it says, human, Eljay Johnsen, creature, human, group. If the TTV channel is in play, this creature gains +1 power counters. Quote, how's the weather? That is awesome. And then go check out that topic that he mentioned on the TTV message boards. This is great. Thank you so much. His other email asks, first, what is the video creation and upload process like? I find this something fascinating. And second, what happened to the Possess-A-Fig contest? You said the winners would be announced on October 31st. So, it depends on the video. Like this kind of a stream is very simple. Everything is set up in Streamlabs OBS. And then it's streamed to YouTube. YouTube saves it. And then I just make a few other tweaks and changes and publish it. It's very straightforward, very easy to do. With other videos like reviews, it really does depend. Like with a review, it depends on the review. So a challenge I had set out for myself with the recaps when they started was I did not want to edit them with jump cuts. What I wanted to do was I wanted to use them as a form of practice. So what I would do is I would record the video in one long take. And if at any point through the video I messed up on the take, I would redo it all. And let me tell you, that was a very frustrating thing to happen when reviewing Karak and Garak. But I did it. And the reason I did that was to practice fluency in speech. I wanted to talk for long periods of time without doing that. I wanted to avoid that as much as possible. Was I always successful? No, not really. However, I always found, and I've heard this, when it comes to talking for long periods of time, it sounds a lot better to have a long pause than it is to do that. So that's really what I set out to do. Going forward, after I felt that I had accomplished that goal, I did start editing them a little bit more. And so what that would look like is I would make the skit. If it needed any audio, I would record a separate audio track in Audacity. I would clean up the audio. I would edit the skit to how I wanted it. I'd chop up the audio to how I wanted it to match up with everything. Add music if need be. Put it at the beginning. Have the intro play, whichever one that was, and that was a whole nother editing process. Then I would attach the review to the end of the intro. Have it play. Make any tweaks, modifications I needed to the lighting, to the temperature, to the saturation, so on and so forth. Get that done. Put it there. Put the outro on. Render. Upload. Every video is going to be very different as to what it takes to edit it. Those videos are very different than, say, what's a good example? Like pins and axles, I suppose. Or the top 10s. They're much different. So, it really does depend. And see? No, stop that, me. Possess a Fig contest. Yes, so I said that the winners would be announced on the 31st. Unfortunately, I was working that day, which is something I forgot when I made that post. They will be announced soon. I have to reach out to the winners, and we will announce that shortly. The unfortunate side effect to starting a contest in TTV nowadays is that I'm the only one managing it. Nobody else cares. So it's just me. I do apologize for the delay. I'm not trying to say that's an excuse, but just kind of giving you some perspective as to why there's been a delay. But it will be soon. His next email is, what is your opinion on Command and Conquer and other such real-time strategy games? They are some of my favorites. And do you have an opinion on, if you do have an opinion, what do you think of the upcoming CNC remastered games? I have no opinion. I've never played them, and I really cannot offer any thoughts. That's all I can say. Okay, next is from Sakode. Oh my goodness. Oh my. Okay, alright. I gotta read the questions first, but Sakota is amazing. Holy crud, he included something so kind. Okay, here are his questions. His email reads, finally, you have that guy you stole the name for on your show. Ha 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 ha. Anyway, he wishes congratulations. Thank you so much, Dakota. Questions. 1. Have you ever eaten a mangosteen? Okay, I had to do one more joke. Ha ha ha. Yes, I have in fact eaten many mangosteen. Though a fun story, very quickly. The first time I had mangosteen, so I was introduced to mangosteen through a juice, a mangosteen juice. And I never had a mangosteen after the juice. The way it worked is, this is many years ago. Mangosteen used to be illegal to import to the United States, so they were notoriously difficult to get a hold of. My barber, the guy who cut my hair as a child, he illegally smuggled frozen mangosteen into the United States so that we could try them. So the first mangosteen I ever had were illegally acquired. Somehow. I don't know how. That's all I know. Obviously, importation of them is now regulated and legal, and some of them are grown in the States. So the reason importation was illegal was due to concerns over an insect that would break into the mangosteen and inhabit the mangosteen. It was a pest. It was a bug, and they didn't want it to spread throughout the world or spread to the United States. So it was heavily regulated for that reason. But there you go. Okay, second question. In all your years in the Bionicle community, what moment comes to your mind where you thought, I'm super happy that I could be a part of this? That is an excellent question. And if it isn't BioCraft, when we got to make it, I think it might be... It's one of these brick fairs. It's one of these brick fairs where, you know, people would come up and they would say, I've watched your videos, you really inspired me to make my own videos. Or I grew up on your reviews and now I want to make my own videos, my own reviews. Or you really helped me get back into Bionicle or back into the LEGO community and back into anything and being involved in things. And I think one of the times definitely was very recently where I was like, you know what? I'm glad I stuck it out. And that was at Brick Fair this year, where Meso and I were playing Bionicle the game. And I don't want to spoil the moment. I don't want to spoil what moment it is. The video will be out eventually. It's edited. It is, as far as I'm aware, uploaded. But you'll know it when you see it. And it's one of those, after all these years of trial and tribulation, I feel good about this. This was worth it to get to here. So you'll know what I'm talking about when it happens. But other than that, probably BioCraft. Biocraft was very satisfying, very fulfilling. All right, third question. In the 100 episodes of your show, which episodes do you think really stood out? I'm going to have to go into this in greater detail at another time. However, I do want to say that some of my favorites, some of them are expected. Like you would expect me to say the one with Greg Farshty, and that's absolutely true. Greg, anytime I've had my friend Nick on, has been wonderful. I really enjoy talking to him. Meso, of course, is always fun because we're just basically hanging out. Alistair Swinnerton, who was so kind and gracious to be on and talk about things. And, of course, I have to recommend his book. His book's really... Let me go get it. Hang on, I almost got it. Come on. Stop it. Okay, here we go. I have to recommend his book from when he was on. It's The Multiverse of Max Tovey by Alistair Swinnerton. It is the first book in the Hamden Chronicles, and I certainly recommend giving it a shot. I had a fun time reading this novel. Okay. But some other favorites of mine would definitely be the Brick Czar, for instance. It was great talking to him and learning his perspective on things, which is super unique. Ben Cossey, who is just a wealth of positivity in the community. Same for the marvelous Jan. He's wonderful. I've had some guests that have such fascinating perspectives on things that come from completely different backgrounds, such as Halo Canon Ian. Brian Saviano, who is just, gosh dang, he will be back. Mark my words. That guy is so fantastic. Upbeat, positive, professional. Cannot forget professional. And just wonderful. And of course, I think the one that always has stood out to me, just so persistently, was when I had Christian Breinbauer on. You might remember him as a Christian Brickbauer as well. And he had a hand in starting a lot of the LEGO user groups and LEGO communities in South America. And hearing him talk about that and talk about his experience doing that and hearing him give his thoughts and perspective on that experience and that the work he put into that was just fascinating and always sticks out in my mind. Constantly. I really like that video. I loved talking to him. He is great. I highly recommend giving that one a listen as well and following him and what he does. Obviously, I've had many, many other wonderful guests. I always have a great time talking to people. There are some I don't really recommend anymore. I'm not going to name any names. It's not like I hate them or anything. I just probably won't have them on again. And then there are some that I think are fantastic, and I might not have them on again. Just because I have their perspective, and I want to give the spotlight and focus to other people as well. But I feel confident in all of the people that I've had on. At the time, having them on, I thought, you know what, I'm glad that you're here to share your perspective on this. And so it's always been nice to have a new and interesting perspective on to share and discuss and talk about. And sometimes there are just some people that have they're so wealthy when it comes to perspective and the angle at which they look at things through and experience that I have to have them on again. I have to. Just time and time again. Those would be, of course, Meso, Kevin Hinkle, who I need to have on again, Nick Anderson, the creator of Planet Ripple. So, you'll definitely be seeing them again for sure. So, okay. Next question. Oh, and hang on, very briefly. I cannot not mention Pablo Kanohi Zath. He's amazing. That's another great episode. Highly recommend it. Okay, fourth question. If you could get one person of your choice on the show, who would it be? Dale Wilson. Nah, I joke. Again, I have nothing but respect and admiration for his line of work and for how polite and respectful he is with honestly, everyone that I've seen him interact with and how kind he was talking to me. So he is sincerely a very, very nice person. If I could pick one person to have on my show, I think I might choose Bob Thompson. I don't think Bob Thompson has ever done a community interview. Ever. Ever. I'd like to have him on. Christian Faber, I've basically given up hope. I'd like to have him on, certainly, but I think Bob Thompson would be more interesting. So, Sakota ends the email with, "Thank you so much for all the work you did in this community. I think to a lot of people, including myself, your effort is a huge part of why a lot of us aren't as invested in Bionicle as we are. I love the show, and I hope there will be many more episodes with fascinating guests. You're doing a great job highlighting the many creative things people in the LEGO community create." Thank you so much, Dakota. Dakota. All right, that's it. The show's over. No. Thank you so much, Sakota. I really appreciate it. And the same goes for you. Congratulations once again on the Ideas project. I'm so happy, and I wish nothing but the best for it, of course. And I know you're going to continue going on to make amazing things. And, of course, continuing to be an absolutely fantastic person. Now, I have to show what he sent. This has been a large build-up to something that he attached as well. And it blows me away. I had no idea he was doing this. It's amazing. Here, let me, and yes, that this isn't me. Just want to stress that. Absolutely, like, when I saw this, my face just lit. I can't see my face, but I can imagine it just lit up. This is unbelievably cool. Gosh, it is so awesome. Thank you for this. I'm gonna have to save these to my computer. They're so cool. Thank you. All right, I'll go ahead and I will have this on the screen for a little bit. And then we're going to move on to another email. Okay. Let me just go ahead and find it. Okay. Next email is from Lego David. Let me take a drink first. Delicious. It's tea, if anyone was wondering. Lego David asks, if you are a movie director and wanted to make a big budget theatrically released Bionicle movie, how would you make it? 1. What Hollywood actors would you cast? 2. What would be the visual style of the movie? 3. How would you market the movie? And 4. How would you convince general audiences to get invested in the movie? I think that it goes without saying, I would probably make the movie about 2001, like Biocraft, of course. I think it's very possible. I definitely think Biocraft serves, if nothing else, as a testament to the fact you can take the 2001 story and make it a feature-length film. With Biocraft, it didn't end up being feature-length to, I think... So it was feature-length to everything but one criteria, I believe. But that's one out of hundreds globally. So I think you can definitely condense it into a feature-length film and still get a lot of the major details in there, is how well that story can be told. So for Hollywood actors I would cast... I think I would definitely pull I'd want to use the actors from the show. I'd pull a Teen Titans Go, where the show actors would retain their movie presence, is what I would do. So, for Tahu, it would be Scott McNeil, of course. I think I'd retain the entire cast of Mask of Light with 2 exceptions. 1. Trevor Duvall would not be Pohatu. It would be Meerkat. I legitimately believe Meerkat, the gentleman who played Pohatu in Biocraft, is the best Pohatu that I have heard. I attribute him to being Pohatu. Firmly. Not to mention the fact that he's just such an unbelievably great person. He's so nice. So Isaac Mir would definitely be Pohatu. And then for Liwa, of course, it would be me. I know that sounds very self-centered. I understand, and I apologize if it sounds egotistical and just very, nose up in the air or whatnot. again, I just feel that Liwa Mata would probably be sounding like me. That's just how I've always kind of envisioned it. So those would be my exceptions. And then, yes, of course, I think Wolk brings up a good point. I might also swap out Gally, possibly for Lena, I believe. I think she did a great job in Biocraft, and she has a really versatile voice. I think that she would also make a really excellent Gally as well. What would the visual style of the movie be? I think a lot of people are going to get on my case for saying this, but I'd probably make it like the Transformers movies, where the Toa, the Matora, and the Turaga, they all had that look of the Transformers, because I think the Transformers visual effects are really good. They're really well done. They're not good movies. I don't think that they're well written. I don't think that they're well much of anything, except their visual effects are really impressive. So I think I'd go that style. How would I market the movie? The same way all movies are marketed. But I'd market it definitely as a fun adventure that has a lot of mystery and intrigue, so you're really trying to find out the secrets of the world. The same way that it was marketed in 2001. And then finally, how would I convince the general audiences to get invested in the movie? Excuse me. Again, the same way that LEGO did it in 2001. There's a lot of mystery, there's a lot of intrigue, there's a lot to consume and get invested and interested in. And I relay the same thing. Alright, next email is from Antros Productions. What do you generally think about young kids handling your Bionicle sets, considering they do not have any experience with them? I don't let anyone handle my Bionicle sets, regardless of age. Unless I know with an absolute certainty that they'd be able to handle them with care. So other Bionicle fans, so anyone from TTV probably would be okay with it, although I'd probably specifically focus on Meso, Fwaf, maybe even Ven. I think they'd be fine with it. And then only a couple of other family members, and that's it. So his next question is, what advice would you give to other Bionicle collectors in getting all the sets? What do you think is the best place to buy them from? So my advice is, it can always wait. That is probably the one thing I would recommend anyone trying to get a full collection. It can always wait. So if you see something that's at a super high price and you think, oh, I gotta get it now, it's never going to be any lower, it can be lower. It can always wait. Don't unnecessarily blow a lot of money on a deal that isn't good. The best places that you can probably get Bionicle sets, I don't think there's one singular good place for it. There are two really good ones. There's eBay and Bricklink. Now, the third one that I never utilized are going to be your secondhand stores. So these are going to be your Goodwills, if you're very lucky, your thrift stores, and your not official LEGO stores like Bricks and Minifigs, where people come in, sell their LEGO, and then Bricks and Minifigs will resell them, kind of like a used car lot. So I would recommend, first and foremost, eBay and Bricklink. Alternate between the two. Neither one of them is better than the other. Check both. Okay, time for another drink. I'm almost out of tea. Delicious. Okay. So Spiang asks a few questions. 1. On your Twitter, you describe yourself as Schrodinger's Liwa. I assume that you're referencing to the famous thought experiment of quantum mechanics involving a cat, but what do you mean by that? So to really boil it down, I'm pretty sure I've gotten Schrodinger's cat at least somewhat wrong, but the way I have always understood it is that you take you take radioactivity, like you take a brick of plutonium and it pulses every 30 minutes. You put it in a box, and you put a cat in a box, and you close the box. In 30 minutes, the cat can be both dead and alive, or it can be dead or alive. You're not going to know until you open the box. That is my very basic, very minor, very simplistic understanding of that. So my joke when I say Schrodinger's Liwa, because I've done so many different Liwa community roles, and more to come, I assure you, is that, well, I'm not Liwa, but I also am. But I'm also not. But I also am. But I'm also not. So that's kind of that's the joke. That's really that boils down the joke there. Maybe it's incorrect, but that was kind of what I was going for with that. Okay. Next question he has is, have you ever considered looking into selling gear and or merchandise with your logo? I have not. Well, okay, so I have considered it. I've considered it, and generally speaking, I've decided against it. Not as a, I will never ever do that, but more as a, it's not something that I'm looking to do. I don't think a whole lot of people are going to buy it. There'll be a few people that would, certainly, but I don't think a lot of people are going to. And I don't want to try and push for something and ask for people's money if there's nothing that they're getting out of it that they can really stand by. They can really get some honest enjoyment out of, and it would enrich their lives. So I don't want to do merch right now because I don't really think it's something I need to focus on. Also, it's something that I wouldn't want to just go and do without talking to the man, the myth, the legend behind the logo, Zeros. Zeros has, I mean, honestly, I think Zeros is one of the main reasons this show exists. He created almost all the assets for this. I honestly am not sure really what you're seeing on screen that he didn't create aside from the image. He is such a wizard when it comes to design and I'm at a loss for words. Zeros is just, he's great. He's not only immensely skilled, he's also a really, really great guy. He's a lot of fun to talk to. So, for those reasons, I'm not considering any merchandise or gear with the logo. Maybe in the future, but it would be definitely far, far future. Not anytime soon. Alright, third question. Alright, one more question that I'd understand if you didn't answer on your show due to its personal nature. What was it like reforging friendships with the rest of the TTV gang after your firing? Oh, it was in 2017. In the 7 months that I was working to reconnect with people, most of the time it was fine because we'd get together, figure out what happened, and then just get back to hanging out after determining what the heck happened. So, we just got back to playing games and having a good time. Some of them were obviously a lot harder to get through and figure out than others. And some of them, I still in the back of my mind, I'm going, man, you still made that choice. That's disappointing. But it doesn't affect anything, and things are really good. I hope that answers the question somewhat. Okay, last email, and then I'm going to get to the YouTube live chat. Everett asks, if I told you there was a restaurant where one could obtain a pickle pie, would you eat it? Maybe. I don't know if I could, but I would definitely consider it for many, many hours. And the second question is, who is your favorite Toa? Discounting Air Toa, because we all know the answer if we included them. Okay, fair. My favorite Toa is Pohatu. After Liwa, it's Pohatu. There you go. Okay. That is all the emails. Now, I will get to the YouTube live chat. So I'm going to have to scroll up. Bear with me, everyone. I'm going to have to scroll up and get through them. All right, Niels A. Anderson. You know what? I'm going to have you on, man. Talk about pixel art. He asks, hey, LJ, is the Eljay Johnsen Show number 333 going to be the 3 LJs podcast? Well, it might be now. 3 is my favorite number, so I might have to do that. All right, Brother W asks, important questions. Why do you not really like The Last Jedi? What's so great about pineapple on pizza? And, of course, how was your day? I'm going to go backwards. My day has been pretty good, pretty relaxing. So, thank you. How's yours been? In fact, I'll ask this to all of you. How have your days been? Hopefully they have been well. What's so great about pineapple on pizza? I don't know if anything's great about pineapple on pizza. I just like to eat it. I like pineapple and I like pizza. It just kind of, excuse me, just kind of works out. All right. And finally, why do I not really like The Last Jedi? I don't think it's well written, nor is it well directed. I feel that as a movie, it betrays a lot of its characters and makes decisions that seem to not be rooted in a logical progression for the film itself and seem more to be done with the goal of inciting controversy and discussion and dividing its viewer base, which was a goal that Rian Johnson had expressed wanting to do well before he ever got involved with Star Wars. It's something that he has already stated wanting to do. I think he accomplished that in all fairness. I don't know how Rian Johnson is as a director in other films. I've never seen any of his other films. I have no idea. All I can tell you is that I don't think he did a very good job on Star Wars The Last Jedi. I don't think that the characters were well written. I don't think the direction of the film was very well executed. I don't think that the movie itself was particularly entertaining. I think it looks great, and that's fine. My issues with it aren't on its looks. It's entirely with its direction and its writing. I don't think they're very good. And that basically sums it up. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I must stress this. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. My favorite Star Wars movie is Revenge of the Sith. And that's only really because it has cool lightsaber fights and General Grievous with 4 lightsabers. And that's awesome. I'm not difficult to please when it comes to films. You show me something cool, I'm on board. Okay. The Crimson Captain asks, will you ever do something like what you did with episode 99 again? Because it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. I'm happy that everyone enjoyed it. And I think I will. I will do it again. I don't think it will be a frequent occurrence, but I will do it in the future. Tesla Effect asks, why do you love plaid shirts? Are you secretly a woodcutter? Why do you have to do that, Tesla? Why do you have to reveal my secret woodcutting abilities, Why? Nah, I'm just screwing around. In any case, plaid shirts I just think are comfortable. See, that is really what I look for in clothing. I am 100% comfort over looks. And this is something I've told the others numerous times. Listen, I wear cargo pants because they have so many pockets, I will never be able to use all of the pockets. But I am a utilities man. I will have a way to store things on my person if I need to. They're useful and they're comfortable. I don't care if anyone doesn't like how they look. That's fine. Whatever. And then with plaid, they're just comfy. They're super comfy. I think plaid just generally looks good. I think anyone can make plaid look good, and they're just very comfortable to me. So I'm a big fan of plaid, especially red plaid, of course. Also, the association has not been lost on me that my favorite Lego set, Liwa, has an axe, and woodcutters are often seen using an axe. Lumberjacks are often seen using an axe and wearing red plaid. That has not been lost on me. Felipe Nunez asks, do you like the Miru just because it has a smile on it? Not just because. That's a pretty strong reason. Obviously, it's the mask on my favorite Toa, Liwa, so I have an affection for it because of that. It looks like it has a smile, which of course I gravitate toward. But it's also really sleek and slender. I actually have my mirror right here. Not the big one. It is next to me, but I'm holding the gold mirror. It's sleek. It's very hawk-like. I just like the dynamic look of it. It's a very simple design, but also a very complex design. That's really fascinating to look at. It's a very difficult shape and look to emulate, which is why I'm so impressed with what Cyberhand did with my mask. He did it perfectly, honestly. In some photos where I'm wearing it, it looks like it's photoshopped on. It's insanely impressive. So, I like the mirror for a lot of reasons. Put it right back down there. Okay. Okay. Tesla Effect asks, LJ, if you could ever visit a foreign country that isn't the Americas, which would it be? Isn't in the Americas, which would it be? Ireland and Denmark. I have family in Ireland, and I, of course, have a reason to go to Denmark because Lego, and I could hang out with my friends that are in Denmark. So, those would be my answers. The Crimson Captain asks, what happened to pins and axles? It just fell to the wayside due to a lot of other responsibilities at the time, and I was really struggling to work out the third episode. I wanted it to be a lot of different things, and the script wasn't coming together, and then when I finally started getting it to come together, it just wasn't... and then it faded again, and then I came back, and then I left, and it just wasn't working out as well. I will probably revisit it at some point, but it's not a priority. Tesla Effect asks, do you have a self-mock of your Liwa-looking guy with a gold Miru? I do. I do indeed. I have no pictures of it online, but I do have it. Green Tornado asks, favorite Mario game? Well, I've only played 1.5 of them. So I'll say the first one, because I still need to get through the others. Okay, let me see here. Move on to the next question. Tesla Effect asks, LJ, if you didn't get fired, would the show ever be made? I don't know. I don't honestly know. Maybe, but it has a much lesser chance, because then I would just do everything under the TTV umbrella. So obviously a lot of positives did come from getting fired. It still sucked. It sucked majorly. But, yeah, I think that it wouldn't have unless I was. So, here we are. Next question, Not It says, LJ, what the bleep? Aren't you a cop or something? In reference to my illegally smuggled mangosteen. No, I am a 911 dispatcher, so I work with cops. Shh, don't tell them. Alright, Tesla Effect asks, LJ, do you consider yourself as a Bionicle community ambassador? Not at all. I don't consider myself as anything other than another fan of Bionicle and just another member of the community. That's it. That's all I am. That's all I've ever considered myself. There we are. I've made a lot of videos. I've gotten to do a lot of really cool things. And I've gotten to interact in a very cool way and make a lot of content that people have liked and a lot of people have watched. But that's it. There is nothing that makes me any more special or particular than you as a fan of Lego and or Bionicle. At all. So, JPEG Plays asks, are you going to get Christian Faber? I hope so. Maybe one day. That'd be cool. But I don't know. So, the Dark Master asks 3 questions. 1, how many Bionicle combos or combiners are there? I don't know the exact number. I know the amount of videos I'm going to have to make, but I'm condensing a lot of them. So, I don't know. 2, have you bought additional sets to build them as to avoid the lime joint issue and other issues with taking the sets apart? And then 3, I have some interesting facts on a canceled wave of Chima. That's not a question, that's a statement. For the other one, no, I don't have additional sets because the lime joint issue will not be an issue for me. That only started in 07, and I have reviews for all of the combo models from 08 to the end, courtesy of my friend Andre Hurley. You might know him as Mask Collector. He has the Bionicle Archives on Facebook. I don't like Facebook. I don't have a Facebook. I don't use it, nor do I promote it. I think it's an awful website. However, as a kindness to him, because he was so kind to host me for a week and invite me out to his place to build his collection, and because he's so nice, and because it's thanks to him that the remixed reviews are going to be a thing, I am going to, of course, recommend check him out. Bionicle Archives. He's great. So I got all of the high-risk reviews done over at his place. And everything else I'll be able to handle myself. It's just going to be very time-consuming. Okay. The Crimson Captain asks, what did you think of Liwa Fantoka when he first came out? So back then, there were leaks back then as well. And oftentimes the leaks would show unfinished or heavily prototype construction figures. Like Gresh was very different than he was upon release. You can find these pictures online. I won't show them, but you can find them pretty easily. And when I first saw Liwa, I thought that it was a fake. Because fakes were common. They happened. And I thought this was just another fake one because it didn't look anything like Liwa. Nothing at all. And keep in mind, this is the first time we had gotten the Toa Nuva back since 2002. So I thought, well, what the heck is this? It's got to be a fake. I don't believe it. Turns out it wasn't. I eventually grew to like the set, of course, but I thought it wasn't really Liwa, and I think that to an extent that still holds true. Okay. Let me see here. Daniel Brickson asks, says, you have to get Darren DePaul to give you Reinhardt voice lines. I think that would be awesome. Though I don't know what Mr. DePaul and I would talk about. But I'd love to have him on. I think he'd be great to talk to. You know what? Maybe I'll ask him. Maybe forget it. I'll just say, you know what? Here, sir, would you like to be on my show to talk about Lego? What you think about Lego Reinhardt? And then, of course, voice acting. I think he's one of my favorite voice actors. He has such a versatile voice and great control over it. He is amazing. Green Tornado asks, LJ, when did you start drinking tea? I have no idea. No clue. I've drank tea for as long as I can remember. So. Okay. Let me see here. Tesla Effect asks, LJ, do you still have that trans blue G2 galley mask? I do. I own every collectible from Generation 2. Every set and collectible. So, I just need to... I think I need to post a picture or do a review on a few of them. The one with the cloth piece, at the behest of a few friends of mine, I did pick a couple of those up, and I do plan on making a review of that as well. Okay. Let me see. Looking for a couple more... Oh, whoopsie daisy. Couple more questions. Okay. Eric Ramos asks, hey LJ, Niels Anderson is shaking after what you said. What can I do? I don't remember what I said, but do your best. That's all I can offer you. I'm sorry. If it's about The Last Jedi, don't do anything. He deserves... No, I'm kidding. Niels is great. Leozander asks, how do you compare your current job with your old job of getting taxis to folks? Much, much more stressful, and I am not one to readily recommend it to the faint of heart or any who cannot handle great deals of stress. It is a very stressful, very demeaning position. It will eat you alive if you are not careful. So it's very stressful. Tesla Effect asks, LJ, what is the job you are striving for in real life? We heard you currently work at Dispatch Work, but what will be your goal job for the future? Voice acting. Professional voice acting without a shadow of a doubt in my mind. That is my end goal. That is my end profession and end career. It is voice acting. I'm working to get into that. I've been working to get into that for the last 9 years easily. Obviously, I've been too young for quite a great portion of that, too green, too inexperienced. So I hope to start really emphasizing that portion of my repertoire soon. That's why I have on my Twitter bio, Voice for Hire. Because once I'm a professional voice actor, not if, once I'm a professional voice actor, gosh dang it, I will change that Twitter bio to read voice actor. And that, at that point, will be the day I consider my career to start. And boy, oh boy, I'm looking forward to that day. And it will happen. That's not wishful thinking, that's a declaration. Alright. Let me see. Leo asks, anything you prefer over or miss from the old job? I prefer the much greater lack of stress and the fact that I know what I'm doing. So, I like those things. Leo says, gotta move to LA. No, you don't. You do not have to move to Los Angeles to be a voice actor, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a requirement of that profession. And in Los Angeles is good if you want to be an actor. It's also not a requirement if you want to be a voice actor. There are 4 different voice hubs in the United States. Or in North America, I would say. There is LA, Los Angeles, Vancouver, Austin, Texas, or other places in Texas. Maybe it's not Austin, but wherever Funimation is. I don't remember. And Salt Lake City, Utah. I'll be fine. And the great thing about voice acting is that you can do it remotely. Will I always do it remotely? Probably not. So I'm very excited to go to these places and do that. But no, you don't have to move to LA. Houston. I think that was it. Okay. Okay, Takanuva03 asks, LJ, what is your favorite Exoforce set? It is the Chameleon Hunter. I did a review here. Tree of Ore Productions asks, LJ, what's your favorite Bionicle meme? Definitely the Liwa axe cutting meme. Easily. Without a shadow of a doubt. The Dark Master asks, have you ever found an animal in your food while eating? Also, do you think Palpatine is actually going to be Palpatine, or what is your thought on the Dark Plagueis theory? No, I've never found an animal in my food, and 2, I have no idea what the theory is about. I do not care about the theory, and I'm not interested in theorizing about the next movie. I don't even care about it. I have no opinions on it whatsoever. Okay. Let me see. I got to scroll back up because it bumped me back down. Tesla Effect asks, LJ, what pets did you own and currently own? So I've owned a slew of pets. I figure now is a good time I can probably say this. So I didn't talk about it when it happened because it just would have made people's days awful. Back in July, my cat Beastie, who many of you may remember from some of my skits, most notably, I think, one of the Beast skits. I think it was the Summer Wave for the recent reviews. You know, he's like, here's Storm Beastie, or here's Lava Beastie, stuff like that. He's been in a few others. He passed away in July. So that was the most recent passing away. He was just shy of being 17, I think. So he would have been 17 in August. Outside of that, I've had several snakes, a few other cats, and currently I have 2 cats and 2 very, very large dogs. I'm not really a cat person, and I am not really a dog person. Beastie was the one exception, so I'm sorry if if it's a downer. That's why I didn't want to mention it when it happened. So it's been a few months, but I figure, you know, at least so everyone is aware. But that's a scoop. All right, next question. No statement. Leo says, Leo Xander. So LJ, after reading the official guide to Bionicle and thinking about how we pronounce the prefixes, I've changed my mind on the pronunciation of Liwa. I am now firmly in the Lewa camp. I'm glad you didn't come to the Brick Fair. No. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. Okay. Spencer asks, what is your favorite Hero Factory set? It's one of the stringers. I don't know which stringer it is, but it's one of them. I'm looking at all 3 of them right now. It's one of them. I'll have to get back to you on that. Wolk asks, LJ, how do you feel about the Golden Jungle Mask? How do you feel about me skipping this question? Don't remind me of that. Don't remind me. Don't remind me that somebody won that mask with a picture of a garbage can. Disgusting. Leosander says, or he asks, I know Greg still says Liwa, but what argument other than that can you provide to change my mind? I mean, I've never really used that as an argument to change people's minds. You can pronounce Liwa however you like. I don't think Lewa is a particularly fitting way of describing him, because Lewa sounds like you would... How he is depicted in Mask of Light is how I would is the kind of character I'd expect to have a name of Lewa. Lewa sounds very ancient. It sounds much older. Now, granted, all the Toa are very ancient and much older. However, Lewa doesn't really fit that very well. He's not really a Lewa. I don't think that Lewa does a good job of capturing what the character is like or how he acts. Liwa sounds much younger, far more jovial. It sounds like it matches his kind of sarcastic, young, green, pardon the joke, pardon the pun, personality. As far as who pronounces it Liwa, Alistair Swinnerton pronounces it Liwa. He says that was the pronunciation he read in the book where he got the name from. Greg Farshty pronounces it Liwa. It's pronounced Liwa in Mask of Light. Those places pronounce it that way. Generation 2, the entirety of Generation 2 pronounces it Liwa. And also Tesla Effect, he says Lewa is how Maori say the word. I stress, Alistair Swinnerton told me on this show he found the name in a Maori dictionary, and it listed the pronunciation as Liwa. I'm not going to use that as an argument to try and convince anyone to say it a particular way. You can say it however you want. However, if that is to be considered, there you go. There are the facts. Pronounce it however you want. I don't mind. I don't care. All I know is that I'm going to say it Liwa. I think that is more fitting for the character. I think that sounds better. And Generation 2 even agreed with that. So, it's a lot more consistent. And that's all. I will jokingly rib people about the fact that I prefer Liwa. I'll say, oh, you pronounce it Liwa. So, that's all. Alright, the Darkmaster asks, is the trans blue galley mask useful for mocks, and do you think Gen 2 would have been better with more alternative masks and collectibles? First one, yes, and the second one, yes. Spencer asks, what have you been doing to prepare yourself for VA work? A variety of things over the years, certainly. I have this microphone. Thank goodness it's a very high quality microphone for voice acting specifically. I'm considering getting another one for podcasting specifically, but this is good for voice work. It's very powerful, very high tech. I have been learning how to work with audio better, learning where to go to audition for things and provide voices for things. I learned absolutely I'm much better with direction, handedly. My best voice work isn't even public yet, and it is easily the best I've ever done. I really hope you all get to hear it one day. I've been working on an at-home studio to improve the quality of the audio, so that way it's not in the same room as a computer that has been loud. That way I have it in a deafened room where there's no hum and the audio quality is a lot crisper and clearer. Of course, as far as talking is concerned, I've been working on reducing the verbal filler, also talking a lot, also yelling a lot, working on exercising my vocal cords, making sure that they're prepared for long instances of speech. Like, you hear me drinking, my throat is definitely parched. It feels raw because I've been talking by myself for a very long time. When I have a guest, I have those moments where, this is why I like them to just take it away, because then they can talk and I can rest my voice. But when it's just me, I need to drink some liquids and help my throat. So it's stuff like that. I do a lot of talking. There are a lot of avenues in which I talk. Podcasting, as Green Tornado just mentioned, ham radio. I'm an amateur ham radio, licensed amateur, etc. I do the dispatching. That involves a lot of talking. That involves a lot of understanding tonalities. And of course, just practicing, constantly practicing, reading things. Sakota mentions Danganronpa. That was really good practice. There's that. There are the reviews. There's doing this. There's constantly doing a lot of different roles. Like, I always try and go for Liwa roles, of course, because I think that's how he sounds, but it's always good to do other things outside of that. It's always good to leave your comfort zone and just practice, practice, practice. Read books, read them out, and so on and so forth. Those are along the lines of what I've been doing. Nautit asks, can we see your self-mock? Are they a different character, or are they just Liwa Mata with the golden Miru? Certainly you can see it. I don't have a picture of it right now, but I'll post it eventually. It is not just Liwa Mata with a golden Miru. It's a different character. 823 Studios. Oh, gosh darn it. There we go. Skipped it again. Where is it? There we go. 823 Studios asks, LJ, are you a sports fan at all? I am not, unless you count Overwatch League. In that case, I am very minorly. Okay. Excuse me. Leozander Magnus asks, when you go to Salt Lake City, will Envy give you a tour of the Mormon Tabernacle? I have no idea what Envy's going to do. Envy does what Envy does. Spiang asks, LJ, when you're a professional voice actor, will you be credited as your real name or as LJ? Are you saying LJ isn't my real name? It's what people call me. Anyway, I look to be credited as, if I can help it, LJ. Which is why I've focused so heavily on making this what people know me as is LJ. Everyone calls me Eljay Johnsen, and if you aim to be part of the acting guild, I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head, you have to have a unique and individual name. You cannot have the name be the same as somebody else. That's why Michael Keaton, his name is actually Michael Douglas. But when he joined the Screen Actors Guild, he had to change it because there's already a Michael Douglas who's part of the guild as an actor. And yes, it's the same ones that you know from the MCU. Those are the same guys I'm talking about. Tesla Effect asks, LJ, can you tell us more about your love for Mega Bloks Dragons? You seemed very enthused when talking about it on LEGO Rewind. I believe that I was reading from a script. I was given a script to read from by Nick, and what he wrote I read off of. I do remember the Mega Bloks Dragons, make no mistake, and they were very cool, but I don't ever think I got any, which is fine. But Nick wrote the script, he did a great job, and it was so much fun being a part of that video. Sincerely a lot of fun. Nick is awesome. Spencer asks, what kind of dogs are they? They are Malamute Wolf mixes. Tesla Effect. LJ, do an interview of the guy that got the golden jungle mask. Listen, if they're out there, they are more than welcome to be on. By all means. Absolutely. Leozander Magnus asks, will you watch JoJo? Probably not. Okay. Down. Up. Okay. Green Tornado asks, how's ham radio stuffs? They're fine. I don't talk often on the ham radio, but it's fine. Nautit asks, what do you think of the Miru Nuva? If you dislike it, what would you change about it? I personally prefer the OG Miru by a mile, but the Miru Nuva can look very cool in other colors like red or white. So I actually kind of agree with you. I definitely agree that I prefer the original Miru by a long shot. It's easily my favorite iteration of the Miru. Nothing has come remotely close. I think the closest would probably be the G2 Mask of Jungle from 2015. Other than that, the way I would change the Miru Nuva, because I am not a fan of it, is I would make it like Bionicle the Game. Bionicle the Game did a better job of making a Miru Nuva design that looks like an enhanced Miru than the actual Miru Nuva, because the Miru Nuva has a lot of odd features. It has all those spikes coming off of it. It has teeth, and it really de-emphasizes a lot of what made the Miru look distinct. It doesn't have a smile anymore. It just had these really weird, sharp-looking teeth and then small eye holes. And I don't think it did a good job representing what the Miru originally looked like. So I think that if you look to the one from Bionicle the Game, you'll find that does a better job of mixing the two and adapting the original one than the actual set did. So that's what I would change. The Dark Master. Also, I agree with you about the colors. I handedly agree. Dark Master asks, how much must one pay? Sorry, let me restart that. How much must one pay you to do a cover of Rick Ashley's Never Gonna Give You Up? Or, more seriously, a cover of All Along the Watchtower by Jimi Hendrix. I don't sing, so I don't think any amount of money is going to get me to do that. Spencer asks, gosh dang it. Okay, there we go. What is the weirdest voice role you've had that you can disclose? Well, they've all been in the Bionicle community for now. I would say, other than that, maybe the Danganronpa series, which isn't really a voice role in the traditional sense, but that will probably change at some point, but it has not yet. I really got to get this makeshift recording booth done so that I can really start emphasizing voice work. It's almost done. It's just progress has been slow on account of work, which eats up a lot of time. Okay. Wolk, which of the Miru revamps do you think is the best? I kind of sort of answered it. I think it's Master. I think it is the best. A lot of people really like Uniter over Master, and that's fine. I understand it, but I think the Miru, or the Mask of Jungle from the Master set, definitely does a better job of capturing the essence of the Miru, the shape, a lot of the iconography, I suppose, of what the Miru has. And then right after that, maybe the Mask of Jungle from the Uniter, I think does a reasonable job. But I would say definitely the Master Mask. Leo asks, do you listen to rock and roll? I have legitimately no idea. Green Tornado asks, wait, your name is the same as another actor? I have no idea. But no other actor is called Eljay Johnsen. I'll tell you that right now. Alright. Eric Ramos asks, question, if Niels makes a pixel art for the show, does he get invited? Also, what kind of pixel art would you like to be? He doesn't need to make anything for the show to be invited. I will invite him independently, and he is welcome to do whatever he wants otherwise. There's no necessity, there's no gateway to entry to making something to be on. By no means. Crimson Captain asks, least favorite Bionicle set? Probably Qatar from 2016. I didn't like that one at all. It's the first Bionicle set that absolutely outright disappointed me upon me finishing its build. 823 Studios asks, what is your favorite LEGO Star Wars set? It's the Construction General Grievous. Easily. Tesla Effect asks, what are your thoughts on female Liwa on Brickonicle looking back at the whole project now? Well, I wasn't a fan of it back during the project, and I'm still not. I still thought it was a dumb idea. I still think it's a dumb idea. I think that it was made out of a... I feel like it was made in parts to spite me, and in parts to pander. So I don't think that it was done out of a genuine desire to make an improvement to Bionicle. Like, a lot of things are trying to improve upon something Bionicle made, but that wasn't one of them. I don't like it. I don't think it came from a good place. I still don't think it comes from a good place. I think it was foolish. I think there were better alternatives. And I really think it was stupid. And it really soured a lot of people's opinion of the project because it was a dumb choice. It was a dumb change. It was dumb then, and it's dumb now. I will tell the others that. Var, Ven, if you're listening, I think it's dumb. And you shouldn't have done it. Okay. There you go. Okay. Oh, gosh dang. There we go. Knotted asks, I just looked at the Bionicle of the game Miru Nuva. It looks much more smooth and round like the OG Miru, but kind of looks angry. Looks angry just because that's how they gave it facial expressions. So, it'll look like that sometimes. I would take out the angry, angular look of it, of course. Oh gosh, I don't know if I can pronounce this name. Jupowep? Jupowep asks, what did you do related to Danganronpa at a loop? It's just a let's play that me and some friends did. Nothing official with the game. That'd be cool though. If you're listening, folks, I'm down. Just let me know. I'll do it. But we just did a let's play and voiced a bunch of the characters for fun. So Dakota asks, would be so cool if you could get a role in Ninjago, even a small role. I'll put it to you this way. I'll take anything. Especially Lego. As far as I'm concerned, if I get a Lego voice role in any Lego property, that's two things. First of all, it could just be the start of my career, hands down. It's something to put on my resume. It's something to point to and be like, I was in this. This is incredible. This is an amazing opportunity that I would be immensely grateful for, of course. But also, things would have come full circle. My career would be voice acting, and that desire to be a voice actor sprung from being a fan of Lego. I think it would come full circle. So, I'm trying to work toward that. I think that'd be incredible. Tesla Effect asks, what do you plan for the next 100 show episodes? What do you have in store for us? I will get to that soon. JPEG Plays, favorite superhero? Spider-Man, easily. Leosander Magnus asks, when will you read The Hobbit? I have no idea. Spencer asks, do you prefer Liwa with axes or swords? Axes. Which is funny because my character, my self-mock, uses a sword, but I prefer Liwa with axes. Darkmaster asks, also, of all the Nuva masks aside from Kopaka, which was the best? Let's say maybe Tahu Nuvas. Lego Rowan asks, can I come on? I don't know. What's your TTV message boards account, Rowan? Let me see here. Getting through the characters, the questions. The Crimson Captain asks, what is your favorite Bionicle song and music? I might go a little simple. So music is probably the song from the battle, the Tohmata versus Makuta Pterodax. And that would be my favorite song, I would say. Or the music that plays during that and during Liwa versus Onua. And then favorite song, probably Move Along. I'm pretty straightforward as far as that's concerned. Leo Xander asks, which does the mobile fort? Let me restart this. Which does the mobile fortress better, the Fortrex or the land bounty? Hard to say. I have not encountered either of those, but I would probably argue the Fortrex. Because it's an actual fortress. There we go. It's an actual fortress, and a land bounty is a boat on wheels. Alright, Darkmaster asks, in all seriousness, which character do you think a gender change would be okay for? Perhaps a background Makuta? I wouldn't advocate for changing any of the pre-established characters. If you want to include a new character. I think changing them is just going to upset people, and it doesn't really achieve anything. It's just a change. If I was forced to choose one of the Tohmata, I would choose Onua, because Mother Earth, and that's an argument that I pitched to people. I don't think I came up with it, but I definitely advocated for it. An alternative to Liwa, which I thought made very little sense. But I wouldn't change any of them. Okay. Sakota asks, would you do voices for Fabuland G2? I would do so. I would do it for Chima G2. Easily. Spencer asks, what inspired you to become a voice actor? Right motivation at the right time. I talked about it a little bit earlier in the show, but absolutely that. And the fact that I agree with some of that motivation. I definitely think that my voice fits cartoons. I can see myself doing cartoons, handedly. Any cartoons. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Tesla Effect asks, what is your favorite book or book series? I think that goes without saying, it's Bionicle, but after that, I really did enjoy... Oh gosh, what was the name of it? Percy Jackson. I enjoyed those books a lot. Mr. Kirito says, I became an actor because of Brent Miller's videos giving me the encouragement I needed to get started. Congrats, dude. Good job. Keep at it. I'm telling you guys, it's not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. Okay. So we're coming to the end here. Dark Master asks, thoughts on the song from the Baraki commercial and the Toy Mari one? I liked Crashed a lot. I think Crashed is a good song and it fit the Mari very well. Creeping in My Soul is also good, though I didn't like it as much due to that rap portion. I don't like rap, so it's definitely not one of my favorites. And I definitely did not like Face Me. I thought that was not good for anything. That's just me. It's just personal preference. So, Tesla Effect asks, LJ, have you watched The Dragon Prince? Season 3 is coming this November and is done by the same writer who did the original Avatar series, not Break. I've not seen it. I've only heard about it like yesterday, so maybe I'll try and give it a shot. Blazing Dragon 2000 asks, do you think the Bionicle fandom has or is becoming more toxic? I think there have always been toxic elements to it. I think there are in any community. I definitely think it has become more toxic. I think there are more toxic individuals in places of notoriety than there were before. Before, there was a lot of camaraderie. People really liked to work together and cooperate and interact and do things together than I think they do now. But I also think the toxic components have really risen to a place of notoriety where people will follow them or they have a greater platform to speak out at. Some of them are YouTube folks. Some of them moderate some of the other Bionicle communities. And so I think that's really disappointing. But I don't think it's becoming more toxic, at the very least. I just think that the toxic elements are already in place, and it's just unfortunate. Leozander asks, how far up in the Percy Jackson series did you get? The first two series. So the first one, Percy Jackson and I think the Olympians. And, oh gosh, what was the other one? And then the sequel series that was focused on the Romans, and that was it. Dark Master asks, will you review Sakota's set if it is released? Of course, I would hope to be on the list to get one of the first few that are made. I hope I can make that happen if it happens, because I'm fortunate enough to be one of the LEGO ambassadors. Eric Ramos asks, what if someday you do a Bionicle pixel art special? I think that can happen because I like pixel art. Tesla Effect asks, do you think the Bionicle community will live on or fizzle out? I think it'll live on in some capacity. In some capacity. 823 Studios asks, do you do interviews on other shows? If so, would you be interested in being on my podcast? I absolutely do. I do interviews on other shows. I'd love to be on them. I'm always open to being on other podcasts. And, of course, send me an email. And, yeah, I would love to be on. Thank you so much for your invitation. Lego Rowan, I'm going to just stop you right there and remind you that I know all the details behind your situation, and I really don't recommend trying to showboat on this show right now because it's really not a good idea. Keep in mind, you being banned from the message boards does not bar you from being on this show, but make no mistake that I know the context, and I know you are very much at fault for a lot of the awful things that happened in that situation. So, I'll say this once. Probably a good idea to stop right now. Okay. And the reason I'm saying this here is to really emphasize how much it's really not a good idea. Alright, we're moving on to a few more questions, and we are going to go wrap up pretty soon. Tom, who I've had on the show, and I can't pronounce his current name. I'm just going to say Tom. He has a good point. As with any community, people who have extreme views get a lot of attention, whether their views are actually held by the majority or not. And that is true. Absolutely. The Crimson Captain asks, any thoughts on what we have seen of Ninjago Season 12? Not yet. I'm going to wait till it's officially out. I don't like judging my opinions on things that are prematurely released. Alright, Notit asks, hey, do you mind if someday I make a character based off of you, Green Matoran with Golden Miru, and include it in my little Twitter comics? Name probably won't be LJ, maybe a pun on Mangosteens. By all means, you are absolutely more than welcome. So long as you don't try and twist me into some caricature or comparison of someone who is evil, as people have done in the past. Famous, or popular YouTuber folk. So, in that case, you're all good. And I appreciate the consideration. Also, Dark Master, any rules for being on other people's podcasts? I don't know what you mean. And what did 823 do? He seems innocent. Yeah, he is. He's fine. I wasn't talking to him. If I said his name, I apologize. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about Lego Ron, who needs to knock it off. 823 was kind enough to invite me to his show, which is a very kind offer. Wolk, will you be getting Disney Plus? No. JPEG plays, which color is better, pearl gold or dark gold? I don't know which is better, necessarily. I think they both have great advantages. I think they're both good in different ways. I have a preference to pearl gold. However, I also really do appreciate old gold as well. Blazing Dragon 200 says, said this before, but for the lulz, Hero Factory is better than Bionicle. I think it has aspects which are quite enjoyable. In all fairness, Bionicle did not have an FM podcast with a slick host. Lego, if you make a G3 and Bionicle gets to have a podcast, call me. Call me. In any case, I think that'll do it for the questions. Thank you all so much for asking all of them. I greatly appreciate it. All right. So, let's go ahead and talk about what's in store for the show going forward. Unfortunately, the show is going to be going on a hiatus, which is unfortunate to say, but it has to happen for now. The hiatus is a few reasons for this. First of all, I need to refocus, make a couple of changes to maybe some formatting, and work on a couple of things to make maybe some improvements or just some adjustments. Excuse me. I need to book more guests. A lot more guests for the next few months. Just some stuff I need to square away for it. The other issue is that work has completely screwed up my schedule. And this time frame for the show is impossible with my new schedule. So I need to work around it, look at it, focus on it, and figure out a way to make sure that this show works on this day. I'm still going to do it. I just need to actually sit down, focus, and make it happen. So, the reason for the hiatus is a messed up schedule, and also to book more guests so that you guys have some entertaining guests to listen to and some unique perspectives to enjoy. The hiatus is probably only going to be a couple of weeks. I would say at the latest it will be the end of the month, but I'm going to endeavor to only make it about 2 weeks. So it won't be too terribly long. We'll be back, and we'll be back better than ever, because I'm still going to do it. This also gives me a little bit of extra time to work on some of the review stuff I need to do. I need to finish the Slicer reviews, get those all up in the TTV channel, and I need to finish the remixed reviews, which are going to be coming very soon. So, okay, that's a scoop, and understand that this isn't a cancellation by any means. Work has only made it harder to work around, but it by no means means that I won't do the show. The show is going to happen. I just need to figure out the best way to schedule it. And for anyone wondering, I work as a 911 dispatcher. So, that's the scoop. It's going to be in a short hiatus. And then I'm going to have a bunch of other fun new guests. Maybe I can tell you. Should I tease a few of them? One of my next guests, I don't know when. We still have to schedule it. We've been working for a very long time to schedule this. He's a wonderful guy. He's fantastic. He's an inspiration to thousands of people across the world. And he is a voice actor. That's all I'll say. But he will be one of my upcoming guests. I have a few more voice actors. Hopefully a few more LEGO designers. And of course, more just members of the community. More fans of LEGO. Fans of Bionicle. All coming up. All going to be on the show. It's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it. The next few months are going to be really exciting for the show. They're going to be really exciting for fans of Slicers and, of course, fans of Bionicle with the remixed reviews coming in. All right. That about does it. That's the update. I apologize that there is going to be a hiatus, but I hope that it won't be too terribly long. I'll do my best to endeavor to make sure that it isn't that long and is only a couple of weeks. I'll make the announcement on Twitter. Make no mistake, they will still be live streamed. It's going to be a blast. All right, that about does it. Thank you all so very much for listening to this show, for tuning in every weekend, for enjoying and commenting and interacting for the last 100 episodes of the Eljay Johnsen Show. This has been a blast. Of course, again, special thanks to my friend Zeros, who has been so kind as to help me get set up with all the visuals. And he's been a really supportive guy. And he's been a really great friend to talk to and hang out with. And I only hope to hang out with him more. So thanks so much, Zeros. And again, thank you all so much for your feedback, your interaction, and your viewership. I hope you have enjoyed. Thank you for watching. This has been episode 100 of The Eljay Johnsen Show. I am, of course, your host, Eljay Johnsen. Thank you once again so much. This show airs every weekend, every Sunday at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, unless specified otherwise, over on Twitter at The Eljay Johnsen, where you can find updates and guest announcements every single Wednesday. And if you have any questions of the week, send them on over to eljayjohnsen@gmail.com. Remember, that's JOHNSEN. Thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.